Hey folks, welcome to the second edition of the webinar. We couldn't stop at just one. I mean, come on, right? After our first episode, we disclosed a little bit of information about the DVR remote, and we got a lot of questions about how it works and how it charges and what's it going to cost and all that fun stuff. So we're here today to talk through some of those answers. Okay, so how does the DVR remote insert into the Hilux brake hood? So on your Hilux brake hood, there is a small hydraulic reservoir nestled inside the hood, and there's a plastic cap that fits over that hood or over that reservoir. So what you're going to do is peel back the rubber on your hood, which exposes the cap. There's two small Torx screw heads in there. Take those screws out, the cap will come off, and that'll expose the hydraulic reservoir. It's a little metal box in there with some hydraulic cabling. We're going to supply a new rubber hood with each DVR remote that's going to have the profile cut out of it. So you'll take off the old rubber, you'll put on the new one, and then you'll have something that looks similar to this. Installation's really simple. You take your DVR remote, you take your Hilux brake hood, snap it into place, and then reinsert those two screws that came out of your hydraulic cap. Just put those same screws back in here, tighten them down nice and tight, and boom, you're all set. Nice and clean looking remote, doesn't go anywhere, fits great, your ergonomics are perfect for your thumb. It's pretty stellar. For charging, we do use a lithium polymer battery for this remote. We're looking at about 25 hours of runtime per charge. You don't have to remove the remote from the hood to charge it. There's a small little door right here that exposes your USB charging port. So pretty simple, you just plug it in, charge it up. There's a little LED that tells you if it's charged or not, and that's it. So charging super easy, installation super easy. Cost, we don't have that totally nailed down yet, but the idea is to keep it within the range of what we typically offer our D1X shifter kits for. So around the $389 to $419 range is where we're looking for this guy. And we'll know a little bit more about that in a couple of weeks when we launch our pre-sale. Oh yeah, that's the other one. How are you guys going to sell this? And we are going to start out with the pre-sale. We heard from a lot of people, just make it happen, get in line. So we're looking at maybe a late December launch for the pre-sale. And again, we're working on all the details for that, and we'll have more information soon about that. Oh, will this be compatible with future versions of the D1X shifter? It's a really good question. We're going to strive to do that right and make sure that any future shifters and remotes maintain backwards compatibility. That's absolutely the goal. We do not want to make something all of a sudden obsolete for everybody that's already got one. So we are definitely making sure to keep that in mind. I can't guarantee one thing or another at this point because the future version of the shifter is still, it's still in the whiteboard stage. So then other folks were asking, well, should I just wait to buy the next generation? And yeah, I mean, that's a very valid question. I just put an order in for a new Apple laptop, a new MacBook. And as soon as I hit the buy button, I saw some stupid article about how the next version is going to be better. I'm like, well, shit. Of course. I hate that. So it's a valid question, right? Do you wait for the next one or do you just bite the bullet? I can't tell you when the next version of the shifter is coming out because we are still like a long ways away from doing that. I mean, remember, we're a small company and development can take some time, right? Just even doing a remote, just the form factor change on the remote, this thing, I mean, obviously there was COVID involved, but this thing took us like a solid year to do this. So a full redesign of the shifter is definitely going to take some time. And I would not sit there and have terrible shifting for the entire time waiting for the next version of the shifter to come out. I mean, this thing is great. Get on it. do it now because shitty shifting sucks. Are you working on some other kind of drop bar related remote that does not specifically work with the TRP Hilux brakes? And the answer is we are working on something like that. There's a lot of, to design something that's universal for every type of drop bar, brake shifter, hood scenario is a pretty daunting task because there's so many little design quirks to all the different methods of doing that. And that's one of the reasons why we went with the Hilux, is that it was a single speed brake. And so it was just this really cool way of integrating. So for a universal device, we are working on some ideas. Hopefully for the next webinar, we'll be able to show some of those prototypes and show some of the things that we're working on. All right, that just about wraps it up for episode 2 of the webinar. As always, if you've got questions or comments, you know you can always send them to us. We'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend and keep your wheels dirty and your shifting clean. Bye-bye.